Hey guys, welcome to our very last week of this year's Scorpio cycle. We are closing out our Scorpio lunar cycle this week and heading towards our new moon in Sagittarius that is going to also be a total lunar eclipse that is going to be happening on Saturday, December 4th. So we're wrapping things up this week in terms of the death and rebirth energetics that have been so strong this year during Scorpio season. And we're doing it with a Mercury in exact conjunction with the sun to open our energetics today and this week. And we should have a very busy, active day and week going on generally with a lot of information, news, communication, and shifting ideas and perspectives going on as well. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today is Monday, November 29th, 2021. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook for the day. Big energetic, big thing that we have going on today. Like I said, we had Mercury and the sun come into an exact conjunction overnight. Actually, the exact to the minute conjunction was at 12 a.m. to really open the energetics for this week. This activation actually started happening on Sunday yesterday, and I do apologize for not putting out my weekend video this week. Honestly, I just got kind of caught up in decorating for Christmas and all of the holiday ongoings, and I ran out of time. But this is a kind of a 3-day activation. Mercury and the sun began their conjunction yesterday on Sunday. The exact conjunction, the exact CAZIMI point is 12 a.m. last night, overnight. Then they're going to be conjunct all day today, and they're going to move into tomorrow, still in a conjunction as well, at which point they will begin to separate. So we have a lot of Mercury conjunct the sun energy to talk about today. A very active day energetically, like I said, day 2 of this transit, but really this is the most significant day because overnight, 12 a.m. was the exact to the minute conjunction playing into the energetics that we are experiencing today. It was building all day yesterday. Not only do we have that going on, this Mercury Sun conjunction, but we also, remember, are closing out our Scorpio cycle right now, which is ruled by Mars and Pluto. And interestingly enough, at the exact moment of the to the minute Mercury Sun conjunction, we also had an active Pluto and an active Mars. And we also had at that point in time our moon in Virgo, which is ruled by what planet? Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So again, we had the sun in the exact conjunction to Mercury while the moon was in a sign ruled by Mercury, speaking to what was going on with Mercury while we're closing out this Scorpio cycle, and Mars and Pluto we're both active at that point in time as well. So we have a lot to talk about today in terms of these energetics, how they're playing out, what role they're playing in the context of this transition of ages right now, which is really, one of the central focuses here on my channel. But anyways, this is really indicating some very specific themes that are coming up today, especially brought to us symbolically by the specific placement of the planets as well. And the mind is just very highlighted today, very active mental energy going on. Now, let's talk specifically about this Sun-Mercury CAZIMI that we had overnight. Now, Mercury conjunct the sun. When Mercury generally is in close proximity to the sun, we call it Mercury combust in astrology, and sometimes it has a tendency of not providing the greatest amount of clarity or all the information. When Mercury is combust the sun, it's like there's a piece of information or a piece of clarity that is missing and that we can't perceive at this point in time. It's sort of lost in the rays of the sun. But when Mercury comes to the exact specific to the degree minute conjunction with the sun, the exact alignment, this is called CAZIMI. And this is actually the most heightened levels of clarity, understanding, insight, a huge highlight on the mind, information, news, understanding, clarity, a moment of true clarity, true insight, true understanding when we have the exact moment of the CAZIMI. This is where the truth really shines through, the information really shines through in terms of Mercury and the sun being in a conjunction with each other. This CAZIMI is really the bullseye of this activation. And like I said, it's very interesting because that CAZIMI is happening exactly, or it did happen exactly at 12 a.m. overnight Eastern time last night. And it happened at 7 degrees and 11 minutes of Sagittarius. Now, this placement in and of itself, you know, I'm always looking at the symbolism in everything. And 7-11, that this specific, you know, these two numbers in combination, 7 a lot of times has connotations and it's a very spiritual number. And 11, this is the number, you know, it has to do with like an evolution or an awakening. And it's also the 11th house is associated with Aquarius. And so just the specific CAZIMI happening at this degree makes me think that symbolically there is some type of spiritual awakening being indicated, some type of conscious awakening, spiritual awakening being indicated in the specific exact placement degree to the minute of this activation just by the 7 degrees and 11 minutes being present. So I wanted to mention that as well. You know, it's indicating just some type of spiritual evolution, spiritual awakening, and that is the energy that we have been in all year, really, since the new moon in Aries, and definitely throughout the course of this Scorpio cycle, which has been so Uranian in the aspects that have gone on and in the themes and the energetics that have gone on as well. So I just wanted to mention that little tidbit. But now in terms of reading the specific placement of this CAZIMI activation today and the conjunction today, if we're looking at it in terms of the Sabian symbols, we always round up a degree because energy really moves in waves. So it's like as soon as that 7 degrees is being activated, we're already pulling in the tones, the resonance, the frequencies of the incoming wave. So that's what we read symbolically. And 8 degrees of Sagittarius, where the Sabian symbol of where this degree activation is happening today, is deep within the depths of the earth. New elements are being formed. So this is sort of giving me like the context of something being birthed from within in the context of this spiritual awakening, grand awareness window that is opening with this activation. The birth of a new paradigm, and we know that's what this whole year is about, and that's also very much what we have been engaged in this entire Scorpio cycle, especially with all that Uranus energy going on, really shifting and changing our frequencies on a very deep level. I'm also reading this symbol as sort of a metaphor for deep within the psyche, new frequencies are being activated, deep within our genetic code, deep within our DNA, new signals or markers or codes are being expressed. And pressure makes diamonds with this degree as well. And with this CAZIMI happening right at this specific degree placement, it does make me think that there is some type of an awakening, some type of an awareness that is being driven from some type of fundamental shift and change that is happening deep within that is now beginning to form and express itself outwardly, physically, tangibly, in terms of whatever comes with this Mercury Sun conjunction that we have going on today. And it's another interesting thing. This degree, deep within the depths of the earth, new elements are being formed. This specifically references the earth, like verbatim in the symbolism of the degree. And the earth itself today is placed at 8 degrees of Gemini, always in a polar opposition to the sun. The sun is at 8 degrees of Sagittarius, where Mercury is today, and the earth is opposite that in Gemini. And that degree, 8 degrees of Gemini, is aroused strikers surround a factory. So it's like these new activations happening deep within us are pushing us to resist and stand up to anything that is now out of alignment with what we are willing to accept for ourselves at this point and going forward. We are consciously evolving and raising the bar in terms of what we will and what we will not accept in our lives any longer. And we are aligning with the new version of ourselves that is emerging from deep within, and no longer tolerating anything out of alignment with our truth, our morals, and our conscience. And this will come into play further as I continue describing the energetics today, but that really is what this is sort of indicating to me. 8 Gemini, aroused strikers surround a factory, demanding for their rights, demanding fair treatment, refusing to be subjected to anything less than that. And this 8 Sagittarius, deep within the depths of the earth, new elements are being formed. And the earth specifically today is at that degree for this Sun Mercury conjunction. It's like people are waking up, gaining this awareness, gaining this insight, gaining this clarity, talking about it, communicating about it, and like making the conscious choice to no longer accept the things of the past that may have held us back from aligning with that truth, that those morals and that conscience that is really the driving force of things right now, aside from our true, authentic, and genuine love and passion as well. Mercury conjuncting the Sun. Generally, people are going places, doing things, talking to people, specifically about, in Sagittarius, truth, beliefs, freedom, just a very busy, restless energy. And especially with this polarity of the Sun, Mercury, and the Earth at these specific degrees today, just generally like a sense of unrest is something that we could experience with this energy as well. Moving on. Alongside of the Sun, Mercury, very powerful conjunction that we have in Sagittarius today, the moon, which we should also talk about now, is going to be in late Virgo right at the moment of that CAZIMI. For the chart today, for the astrology today, I'm actually using the 12 a.m. chart of the exact moment of the Mercury Sun conjunction. And those are the energetics that I'm using to describe the report today, because I just felt like this is such a significant energetic, and I wanted to read the energy as it was represented at that moment and incoming towards this day and towards this week as well. So with the moon in late Virgo for that conjunction, for that exact conjunction, like I said, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So this is tying our emotions, the moon, into this energy today as well. And it's interesting because it makes it so both the sun and the moon are speaking to Mercury. Very mercurial day, even though we are currently in our Scorpio cycle still and heading in towards our Sagittarius cycle, neither of which are ruled by Mercury, but because of Mercury in conjunction to the sun and the moon in Virgo ruled by Mercury, Mercury really is the name of the game today. Very busy energy, finding things out. Another thing that we have going on, and I mentioned this earlier, is, and I want to talk more specifically about it now, is something that we have going on with Pluto today. And this is also quite surprising. Pluto at exactly 12 a.m., exactly when that Mercury Sun CAZIMI happens, will be changing degrees to 26 degrees of Capricorn. Now, this is a relatively big deal because Pluto has been at 25 degrees of Capricorn for like months and months. Pluto has been there forever at the Sabian symbol, a store filled with precious oriental rugs, that was talking about helping us to recognize the truth of the value that we hold inside and what type of resource that really gives us to create value in our external world. And now, finally, at the moment of the Mars Sun CAZIMI, exactly, Pluto decides to shake it loose and shift to 26 degrees of Capricorn. And what is that degree? That Sabian symbol is a nature spirit dancing in the midst of a waterfall. And to me, this is about cleansing and purification and liberation and rejoicing in the beauty and abundance of nature. And also, most importantly, what I always feel like with this symbol is a sense of like true, authentic self-empowerment and being self-empowered to do all of those things and to live that experience unencumbered, to be able to be like free to cleanse and to purify, to rinse away the past, to be liberated to do so under the midst of a waterfall, just rejoicing in the beauty and abundance of nature and the natural world and the magic that is represented by that. And I really feel like that truly at the core of it boils down to just this sense of self-empowerment. And Pluto is the planet that rules our own sense of self-empowerment and where we give our power away to others and where we allow ourselves to be dominated and controlled. And right now, everything that is happening with Pluto is actually happening to help us come back into a better relationship, a more authentic relationship with the truth of our own power and the value that we hold inside. And now with Pluto finally moving to this degree, to me, it is speaking about this return of the magic and this return of this self-empowerment that is associated with that. So I find this to be very interesting and very synchronistic that this is happening at the exact moment that we do have that Mercury Sun CAZIMI. It's almost like the clarity and the insight that is coming with this degree is pertaining to this newly realized sense of self-empowerment that is the new elements that are being formed deep within the earth that are causing us to want to rebel against and resist and protest essentially anything that is no longer in alignment with that sense of true internal self-empowerment based on our authentic value and our new perception of ourselves. And it's like it's fitting all together and sort of explaining how these energetics are playing out and how it's contributing. It's like we're gaining this like flash of insight into our own power, and that is causing us to stand up for ourselves really, and to break out of situations that have been unfair or that have been keeping us out of our own power or out of our ability to develop our authentic potential and live a life that is in true authentic alignment. And it's like all of this is really happening together, and it's causing this vibrational shift that is that is collectively going to lead us into the shift of the ages and the age of Aquarius. It's so interesting to read the pages and see how it all unfolds and how it all comes together and how it all works together towards the same purpose. There are so many like working parts, but they're all driving for the same exact thing. It's really cool to watch it unfold. Now let's talk about Mars, the other ruler of Scorpio. Remember, Pluto and Mars co-rule Scorpio, and I said both of the rulers of Scorpio are active today for this Sun Mercury CAZIMI at the moment. And while we have Pluto shifting degrees to 26 Capricorn, we also have Mars in an exact trine to Neptune, 21 degrees of Scorpio and 21 degrees of Pisces. Now, the Sabian symbol for the degree, 21 degrees of Scorpio, where Mars is today, is that degree. Obeying his conscience, a soldier resists orders. And this is, I mean, it's Mars. This is the planet of action and how we act and how we use our energy. And it's telling me, especially in the trine to Neptune today and at this degree, we are acting on our conscience. And is it because we're coming into this sense of self-empowerment based on these revelations that we're having, this clarity and this insight that we're gaining, that's helping us to stand up for ourselves, stand in our power, and break free from anything that has been restricting and limiting us from being able to act our conscience? Acting on his conscience, a soldier disobeys orders. It's just very interesting. And in the trine to Neptune, this is the spiritual planet. This is Mars and Neptune in Scorpio and Pisces. They're signs of rulership. This is an extremely strong and powerful activation because they're both in their signs of rulership. This is the spiritual warrior. This is compassion and empathy over ego. This is creative, very high creative energy. It may actually produce more low physical energy with Mars and Neptune, but very high creative energy. Act on intuition, act on intuitive hunches, strong spiritual energy guiding actions. Mars with this today, seeing through illusions and actively destroying fantasy and illusion, while we have the Sun and Mercury CAZIMI bringing this blast of truth and insight. Spiritual awakening again, alongside this CAZIMI happening at 7-11. And this could also, another thing that this could indicate that is a little less related to the theme of everything that I've been talking about today, but I wanted to mention it as well. Mars in Scorpio in the trine to Neptune in Pisces. This also could indicate more problems with disease and also things related to water and oil, issues related to water and oil, and also potentially a reemergence or a spread of some type of disease or illness or situation like that with these planets in effect. But so, that is just something that can generally be indicated. But, looking at the overall picture and in terms of the context of this paradigm shift that we're going through, this activation, Mars in trine to Neptune at the degree of the soldier obeying his conscience and disobeying orders. This is talking about busting through paradigms as well. This is talking about actively destroying illusions. This is talking about acting on internal guidance, our higher self, spiritual hunches, acting on intuition and acting our conscience in the midst of all of this other stuff that's going on. Very, very interesting. So overall today, we begin our week with our week that will close out the Scorpio cycle and open the Sagittarius cycle with that total solar eclipse that we have coming up on December 4th. We may receive some very significant insight that results in some type of unrest with the aroused strikers surround the factory today, and also Mars at that degree as well. But this is based on a new form of ourselves, really, that is beginning to be birthed and emerged now and breaking us free from our past conditioning. It's a shift into self-empowerment with Pluto moving to that degree today, acting our conscience and more energy pushing for a spiritual awakening, destroying the illusions of the past brought to us by Mars and Neptune today, as we start truly acting our conscience based on Pluto changing degrees, a sense of self-empowerment based on the Sun, Mercury, CAZIMI, and this flash of insight, this flash of awareness, pushing us to activate these things that are forming deep within us and stand up for ourselves and break ourselves free from the illusions of the past that have been holding us back from our authentic truth, which is what needs to happen as a collective process so that we can transition into the age of Aquarius. And, you know, with it being the Scorpio cycle that we are coming out of right now, Scorpio cycle represents death and rebirth. And with the both rulers of Scorpio, Mars and Pluto, involved in the conjunction, and the specific polarities of 8 degrees of Gemini and Sagittarius and the Sabian symbols associated with that today, this activation and energy is it's creating a rebirth and an evolution in terms of us consciously seeing and perceiving and interacting with our own reality, really. And, you know, again, it's just more energy causing deep frequency-based changes, laying the framework and recalibrating the collective of humanity to embody and create the shift of the ages as we transition paradigms into the age of Aquarius. It's like every day is another note that is played in this progression of sounds that is leading to the composition of this grand symphony that is the age of Aquarius. We are all embodying it as we go through this vibrational shift, this vibrational change, and everything changes in our external lives as well. We are creating the age of Aquarius, and these energetic activations are really inspiring us and helping us to do it. So very interesting energy in general today. And now I want to talk just briefly, now that I've gotten through all that. I said that this did begin yesterday, and it started, this conjunction between the Sun and Mercury started actually at 7 degrees, the Sabian symbol of 7 degrees of Sagittarius. And that degree, interestingly enough, is Cupid knocking at the door of a human heart. And then yesterday we had Mars for the initial conjunction between Mercury and the Sun, we had Mars at 20 Scorpio, a woman drawing aside 2 dark curtains that closed the entrance to a sacred pathway. And so again, while this energy was kicking off yesterday, even just to, you know, even though this energy has already passed and happened, just to see how it started. It's like how it started, how it's going. You know what I mean? While Mars was at that degree yesterday about the woman drawing aside the 2 dark curtains, and the initial conjunction between the Sun and Mercury happened at Cupid knocking at the door of a human heart. Again, this was giving us insight on what would really be playing out with this activation today, aligning with the true, authentic love and value that we hold inside, and finally getting to see the truth of what's been going on behind the curtain with this Sun Mercury CAZIMI tonight that is definitely causing these power shifts. Pluto changing degrees exactly at that moment to a degree that represents like a form of like true magical self-empowerment. So, and then drawing aside the 2 dark curtains, seeing beyond the veil, seeing what is under the surface, just very, very telling, very, very interesting, and it just all makes sense. So very likely there's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of information, a lot of news, a lot of revelations, a lot of things being figured out, a lot of shifts, a lot of changes, potentially some unrest, some anger, some revolt, some rebellion as well. But just, yeah, a very busy energy, people getting things done, people talking about things, people going places, and people figuring things out as well under these energetics. I want to talk about the tarot for just a quick second. I was shuffling the cards this morning, asking for clarity on the collective for today, and 3 cards immediately came out. They're pretty self-explanatory, so I'm really not going to spend too much time talking about them today. The first card that came out was the 2 of Swords. The second card was the 7 of Cups. And then we had the Wheel of Fortune. And then on the back of the deck, we had the Page of Wands. And really, just generally in a nutshell, what this is saying is we're at a crossroads right now with this Two of Swords, but we are following our passions and our desires and our creative inspirations, the Page of Wands. And it's just, I mean, we're at a crossroads. There are a lot of options, a lot of things that we are thinking that maybe we can choose between. There could be some confusion as well. Not really like a clear view of the future right now, but with the Wheel of Fortune here, this is telling me that everything happening right now is being divinely guided. There's divine intervention going on. These are very fated times, and it's not really a surprise because we are in the eclipse window right now, in between two eclipses. Very, very fated times. Planets conjuncting the nodes. Very, very fated times. We may feel like we sort of have to make a blind choice and we don't really know what to do right now as we go through this process, but we are definitely going to be gaining some serious clarity and getting moved by universe in a certain direction. Sun conjunct Mercury, exactly. And it definitely has to do with our passions, our desires, and our creative inspirations, with the Page of Wands following that creative, authentic inspiration that is within us is what is going to help us make the right decision. And also with the Sun in the conjunction with Mercury today, we are going to be getting a lot of fated information in between the eclipse window as well. Like, we can't understate that. This week could have some really crazy things going on heading into the solar eclipse, because again, we're just in between an eclipse window. The Wheel of Fortune's coming up, you know, insight is coming, clarity insight is coming, clarity is coming. It's coming through fate, and it is going to be aligning us with our authentic joy and passion that's like inside of our heart. So let me talk, so that's what the tarot is saying today. Now let me talk really briefly just about incoming energetics that we have this week. Of course, I will be here with you talking about it every day as it's unfolding, but just to give you guys a brief heads up, tomorrow on November 30th, we are still going to be starting the day with Mercury and the Sun still in a conjunction, but it is going to begin moving apart throughout the course of the day. And we will have the Moon in Libra tomorrow, making it an opposition to Chiron. So it's going to be bringing up more of those Chiron themes tomorrow as we wane out of this Mercury Sun in exact conjunction to the degree energy. Wednesday, December 1st, we are going to again have that Moon in Libra. It's going to be squaring Pluto. And the Moon is going to be moving into Scorpio to head into conjunction to Mars to begin to really close out the Scorpio cycle, Moon squaring Pluto. It should be a pretty scorpionic day in terms of just like the vibrations and the feelings that we have going on Wednesday. Thursday, again, we have that Moon in Scorpio coming into a conjunction with Mars. And Venus actually moving into a conjunction with Pluto. This is going to be a big energetic over the next week or so. And the Moon in Scorpio, the Moon is heading towards the beginning of Scorpio to start setting up for the new moon in Sagittarius that we are going to be having on Saturday. But really on Thursday, we just have that Scorpio moon and coming into conjunction Mars. This could be a very heated day that we have going on Thursday. Friday, like I said, we're going to have the moon moving into early Sagittarius and Venus moving closer into conjunction with Pluto. Mars moving into a square with Jupiter on Friday. And these aren't exact. This energy is building. Saturday, December 4th, we are going to be having our new moon solar eclipse coming in 2:43 a.m. This is going to be at 12 degrees and 22 minutes of Sagittarius. There we go again with the 222s. If you guys have been following my reports for a while now, they just keep coming up, these 222s. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But for the new moon, this is going to be in a conjunction to Mercury and a quincunx to Uranus. It's going to be with Mars in square to Jupiter and also Venus in a conjunction to Pluto. So this is going to be a really dynamic new moon Sagittarius cycle as well. And I didn't write anything down for Sunday. I'm sorry, because I think that it's just going to be, Sunday is really just going to be more of the energy pulling over from Saturday. So that's really what we have to look forward to. That is what is coming this week. We're going to have another very active week in our astrology. And we are kicking it off with some really big mental shifts, changes in awareness, changes in our internal, like, relationship to our own self and what we hold inside of us, definitely, with especially this happening at this degree. Spiritual awakening, still a very big theme of the energetics today. So let's pull a synchronicity card for today, you guys. These synchronicity cards are messages from God, and this is just a bit of insight, a bit of inspiration that we all need to hear right now. It doesn't matter when you're watching this, that can help us navigate our day through this very busy, perhaps a bit tumultuous energy that we have going on. So let's choose a card. I feel like now is the time, and let's see what we have. The card says, right action. And the Lord shall guide thee continually. Isaiah 58:14. It says, trust God, know his love is within you. Know God is guiding you, and there are no wrong turns or wrong turns. Wait, sorry, let me start over. I want to make sure I read this properly. It says, trust God. Know his love is within you. Know God is guiding you, and there are no wrong turns or wrong words or wrong actions. Everything you are doing while holding this knowledge of God in your heart is leading to your goal. Believe it. Your goal and success are yours right now. So it's very funny to me because this really, I feel like, is clarifying these tarot cards. It's basically saying, trust the process. There's no need to be in a state of confusion or indecision right now, because God is really handling the situation. God is, fate and divine intervention are in charge right now. We are in the midst of an eclipse weekend. Know God is guiding you, and there are no wrong turns, there are no wrong words, and there are no wrong actions. So we really don't even need to be feeling like this. Confusion over what to do, making a wrong choice, not being able to make a decision because we don't know what to do, because everything you are doing while you are holding this knowledge of God in your heart is leading to your goal. God is guiding you, and there are no wrong turns, there are no wrong words, there are no wrong action. The wheel of fortune is turning. Very, very interesting card coming through to clarify, or to give us some, it's not even clarification, it's just inspiration. It's just what we need to hear right now. And this is true. Everything that is happening right now, no matter how crazy it seems, is happening for us, not against us, to help us go through this internal frequency shift that is leading to our ultimate freedom and fulfillment as we transition ages and create the age of Aquarius through this process individually and therefore collectively. So right action it is. That's what I have for my report today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would be interested. Leave me comments, you guys. I absolutely love your comments. I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group as well if you're interested in that. And definitely, you guys, come back with me tomorrow. Come back with me tomorrow. We have another very, very interesting week of astrological energetics, helping us make our way through this transitional process, this transitional period, this paradigm shift into the age of Aquarius. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and come back with me tomorrow, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.